Hello and welcome, my name is Sarah and I create mod tutorials for The Sims 4. In today's video we're gonna go over sim pickers, so let's dive into it. In front of me I have opened the TDES Builder and then I've already chosen the SimPicker Interaction. Now to find this you just go into the TDES in here and we can just type in SimPicker. It will be under interactions and there it is. So what is a SimPicker exactly? Well, a SimPicker is the selector that will pop up where we can select Sims that are joining us for a rabbit hole interaction, for example. So that is the SimPicker, so it's just the picker where we can select Sims. So when does a SimPicker actually happen? It could either just be directly from a phone, or you can also add it inside of a outcome of an interaction. Now I do want to mention that for example, if we have a super interaction, is that if the interaction is happening on an object, let's say a computer, we do need to do something to this outcome in order for this SimPicker to actually show up on our sim. Whereas when we have the SimPicker as an outcome on a phone interaction, we actually don't need to do this because the phone is already connected to the sim, but the computer is not. So when we go to outcomes in our super interaction, then the SimPicker itself will be added inside of the continuation. So inside here we have affordance. Then we select our SimPicker. So like this works fine for the phone, but like I said, if our SimPicker is happening from a interaction, we do need to make sure to select a target, and inside of the target we do need to say actor. So now these settings are perfect and work for a computer interaction that has a SimPicker as an outcome. Now this will also work on the phone, so it's actually just best practice to always add the target and then an actor. So if your SimPicker is not popping up on your computer interaction or any other object interaction, then this is the reason why. So you have to make sure to set target to actor. Now let's have a look at the SimPicker. Now for this I chose the SimPicker Skinny Dip interaction. I don't know, this is the first one that popped up, so I just decided to click on this one so we can have a look at the file. So like I mentioned earlier, either the SimPicker is the direct interaction that happens, or it happens after an interaction is done, as in an outcome. So let's go over this file. Now the first thing you see is a actor continuation. So after you select whichever Sims are joining you in this adventure, in this skinny dipping adventure, there is always a difference inside of the actor and the picked sim. So if we scroll further down, we have picked continuation, which is just all the sims that have been picked. Now another thing you could do is have the actor continuation and then say target and add the target as in picked, which will then also include all the picked sims. Now, I like to always just put the picked sims inside of the picked continuation, but I feel like that's just a preference of whatever you want to do. So a continuation is always going to be an affordance, so an interaction. It is never going to be a loot. You cannot add loots into this. So you cannot have, I pick this sim and then apply a loot. So I pick this sim and then add a buff or something inside of a loot. That's not possible. You will need to use an immediate interaction, and from that immediate interaction you can go into a loop. Now this section is what happens after the sims have been picked. So once all the sims have been picked, we will go inside of this interaction, which in this case is the terrain swim skinny dip. Now this is, like I said, this is only going to be for the actor, so not the picked sims unless you target it to picked sims. And then all the picked sims will be going into this interaction, which is in this case the exact same 1, the terrain, swim, skinny dip. Going further down, we have the display name. Then we have a display name. Override is testable. Now this is just a test placed on the name or the icon so that it changes with certain tests. In this case, it is the holiday tradition, water fun. So something will be changed. In this case, it looks like the actor and then a pie menu or something like that. Then everything until picked sim is actually just fine with the settings and we don't have to actually look at those. But then we get our picker dialog. So this is the part where we give the information about what kind of picker this is going to be. In this case, it's a sim picker, so it will select sims. Now, if we could click on here, we can see the differences. We could also do a skill sim picker or nothing, but most likely when you're doing a SimPicker interaction, you will actually use the sim picker. Then we have the max selectable and the minimal choices and the minimal selectables, which just means like how many sims can you actually select and what is the minimum of how many sims you can select. Now I have to say that this section is not as complicated as I have made it before. So let me just grab the Road to Wealth mod and then we can have a look at the sim picker that I created in here, which is a little bit different. In this case, we also have a picker dialog, a sim picker. Then we have it set to column count 3. Now that is the columns that we can have. Now where is that? Over here. Okay, here. So we have the column count 3, so that means like 3 columns, so 1, 2, 3. Then what else do I have on here? Because this is just what I use all the time. Oh yeah, for max selectable, instead of having it set to unlimited, in my case I have set it to where is it here? To static count and then to 7, which now says that we can select up to 7 sims. So if you want to do a number that you can select, you can just set this to static count and then choose however many sims you want to be able to select. So those are the basic things about the picker. So of course, because this is a sim picker, it is actually very important to also add the picker option to your sim picker. Then we get sim filter. Now this is going to be a filter of the sims that are available inside of the picker. Now I do have to say that I've been struggling with this sim filter quite a lot because for some reason vampire sims, I don't know if it counts for any other occults, but the vampire sims are just not showing up. So because of that, I always now just remove the sim filter and just use the sim test, which is the same thing as the sim filter, but the sim filter is easier to use if you have multiple sim pickers, because then you can just only refer back to that sim filter and you don't have to go and edit every single sim test. But I've been having issues with vampire sims, like I said, so I've just removed it and now only use the sim test. So the sim tests are the tests on the sims that are available inside of the picker. So in this case, we have a trait blacklisted, so humanoid robots are not allowed to be selected for this skinny dipping, and same goes for proper sims who also don't want to be selected for the skinny dipping. Now the thing about the sim test, it is very important to always make sure to add picked sim to every single subject inside of the test. And then for the last thing, we get test globals, which you should be familiar with by now. If not, these are tests placed on the sim that can go inside of this interaction. So meaning, for example, if the sim picker is a direct interaction on the phone, and then my sim would have the proper trait, this interaction will not be available inside of the phone. So these global tests are all placed on whoever is allowed to pick this interaction. And in this case, there's a really long list of tests, but most of the time I just add the sim info because like this one, it is not available for children or toddlers or babies or infants and not even teen Sims. So that was it for SimPickers. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask those questions in the comments down below. And if you thought this video was helpful, then give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more Sims 4 content, and I'll see you in the next video.